Details of the agents, or they also exhausted? Easy. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Are we all together? Okay, may we proceed? And welcome back and good morning to everybody. After all the exhaustion, huh? So now we would like to proceed with the announcements after all the verifications and all the confirmation to make sure that we come out accurate, we come out straight. So on that note, let me just give it to the chairman.
December 2021. Hereby announce the results from the Banjul South constituency. In the Banjul area as follows. Adamabaro, NPP 3,641, 3641. Edamuserudawo, UDP 857, 857. Esambaifal, Independent, 187, 187. Abdullah Ibrahim Jame, NUP, 19 votes, 19. Mama Kande, GDC, 182 votes, 182. Halifa Babakar Sala, Doi, 565 votes, 565. There was one invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Mansour Hun, Ian Bodoy, Amadou Diallo, Ian for UDC, Abdullah was gay, agent for UDP, Amadou Ba, agent for NPP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Gassama, NUP, Ibrahim Anyam, agent for GDC, Modu Ewis Mbu, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabari, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Sambaifal, Jabu Joh, agent for Doyle, and Alaji Mamadi Kuram, agent for Doyle. Signed, Arumanjai.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Now we look at the Banjul South constituency in the Banjul administrative area. Adama Barrow, NPP, 3,641. ANM Usainu Dabo, UDP, 857. Esambai Fall, Independent, 187. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajame, NUP, 19. Mama Kande, GDC, 182. Alifa Babukar Sala, PDIS, 565. There was one invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Mansour Foon, agent for PDIS, Amadou Diallo, agent for GDC, Abdullah Bosge, agent for UDP, and Mamadou Ba, agent for NPP. And the results were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, GDC, Mamadou ABS Mbu, GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, NPP, Alkali F. Conte, NPP, James Bahum for Esa Mbaifal, Jabu Joe, PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, PDIS. Signed by Umar Alunjai, Chairman, IEC.
I, Ali Muhammad Ndiaye, returning officer of the election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the result from the Banjul North constituency, independent of the area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 3,430, 3430. Hiram Hussein Dawo, UDP, 1,778, 1778. Abdullah Ibrahim Jame, NUP, 19 votes, 19. Mama Kande, GDC, 186 votes, 186. Hewa Bakar Sala, Doi, 447 votes, 447. There was one invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Fatou agent for Doi, Amadou Boare, agent for GDC, Omar Bidje Toure, agent for UDP, Sheikh Doi, agent for NPP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Gazawa, agent for NUP, Ibawa Nyang, agent for GDC, Moro AWS Move, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sawari, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Ibrahim Baifal, Isam Baifal, Jabuja, agent for Bodoi, Alaji Malikuram, agent for Bodoi, signed Alamunidai.
And now we go to Banjul North constituency in the Banjul administrative area. Adama Barrow, NPP, 3,430 votes. ANM Hussein Dabo, UDP, 1,778 votes. Esam Baifal, Independent, 165. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajame, NUP, 19. Mama Kande, GDC, 186. Halifa Babukar Sala, PDOIS, 447. One invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Fatou Trin, agent for PDOIS, Mamadou Bouare, agent for GDC, Omar Bidje Toure, agent for UDP, and Sheikh Tijan Doi, agent for NPP. It was witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mamadou ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esam Baifal, independent, Jabujo, agent for PDOIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDOIS. Signed by
I, Ali Muhammad Ndiaye, returning officer of the election of 4th December 2021. Hereby announce the results from the Banjul Central constituency in the Wayne Administrative area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 4,749, 4749. Hiram Hussein Dabo, UDP, 1,453, 1453. Esam Baifal, Independent, 260, 260. Abdullah Ibrahim Jami, NUP, 1414. Mama Kandi, GDC, 306, 306. Harifa Bakar Sala, Doi, 719, 719. There was one invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Babukar Mboj, agent for Doi, Ibrahim Makaro, agent for GDC, Dawda Jangom, agent for UDP, Fatima F. Sose Jallo, agent for NPP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasema, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Nyang, agent for the DDC, Moru Mbo, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahom, agent for Esam Baifal, Jabuja, agent for Doi, Jabuja, Raji Madi Kurang, agent for Doi. Sign Ayomani.
Banjul Central Constituency, Adama Barrow NPP 4,749, ANM Usaino Dabo UDP 1,453, Esam Fall Independent 260, Abdullah Ibrahim Ajame NUP 14, Mama Kande GDC 306, Halifa Babukar Sala PDOIS 719, one invalid vote. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Babukar Mboj, agent PDOIS, Ibrahim Makalo, agent GDC, Dauda Jangom, agent for UDP, and Fatima F. Sosejalo, agent for NPP. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Momodu APS Mbub, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Esa Mbai Fal, and Jabujo, agent for PDOIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDOIS. Signed, Aliu Momorjai, Chairman, IEC.
I, Aliu Momorjai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021. Hereby announce the results from the Bundung constituency in the Kaling area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 10,542, 10542. Hiram Senudabo, UDP, 7,132, 7132. Esam Independent, 321, 321. Abdullah Ajame, NUP, 81, 81. Mama Kande GDC, 2,225, 2225. Halifa Bakar Salah, Doi, 1,310, 1310. There were 5 invalid votes. This is why it is endorsed by Momodu Lamin Bai, agent for NPP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahom, agent for Esam Baifal, Jabujo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed, Alumni.
Bundung constituency, Adama Barrow NPP 10,542, ANM Usaino Dabo UDP 7,132, Esam Baifal Independent 321, Abdullah Ibrahim Ajame NUP 81, Mama Kande GDC 2,225, Halifa Babukar Sala PDIS 1,310, 5 invalid votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Momodu Lamin Baji, agent NPP, Sidi Gazama, agent NUP, Demba Sabali, doctor, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esa Mbaifal, Jabu Joe, agent for PDOIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDOIS. Signed, Aliu Momonjai, Chairman, IEC.
I, Aliu Momonjai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Kiang East constituency in Yamataku area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 2,073, 2073. AM Sudawo, UDP, 2,485, 2485. Esamaipal, Independent, 43, 43. Abdullah Ibrahim Jami, NUP, 47 votes, 47. Mama Kande GDC, 61 votes, 61. Halima Bakarasala, Doi, 24 votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Brahma Prabhu Sani, agent for NPP, Papanjai Sanyang, agent for NPP, Al Mamo Diba, agent for UDP, and Keba Kamara, agent for Doi. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esamaifal, Jabu Jo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mahmoud Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed, Arumanjai, Chairman.
Now, Kiang East constituency, Adama Barrow, NPP, 2,073, ANM Usainu UDP, 2,485, Esambaifal Independent, 43, Abdullah Ibrahim Jame, NUP, 47, Mama Kande, JDC, 61, and Halifa Babukar Salah, PDIS, 24. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Burama Fabu Sane, agent, NPP, Fafanjai Sanyang, agent, NPP, Almamo Diba, agent, UDP, and Keba Kamara, agent, PDIS. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent, NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent, NPP, James Bahum, agent, Esa Mbaifal, Jabu Jo, agent, PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent, PDIS. Signed, Aliu Momonjai, Chairman, IEC.
I, Aliu Momonjai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Kiang West constituency in the Matakongo administrative area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 2,602 votes, 2602. AM Usainu Dawo, UTP, 6,619 votes, 6619. Esambaifal, Independent, 64 votes, 64. Abdullah Adama Jami, NUP, 179 votes, 179. Nama Kande, GDC, 200 votes, 200. Halifa Babukar Salah, Doi, Irpotai, 96 votes, 96. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Burama Pabustani for NPP, Papa Jaisanyang, agent for NPP, Almamo Diba, agent for UDP, Dauda Kamara, agent for GDC, Amadou Esba, agent for GDC, and Keba Kamara, agent for Doi. The results were witnessed and confirmed in his own house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim agent for GDC, Muhammad Ibs Mob, agent for GDC, Dr. Deamba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali Conde, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Esambaifal, Jabu Jo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Muhammadu Amadi Quran, agent for Doi. Signed Ali Mandai.
The results for Kiam West constituency. Adama Barrow NPP 2,602 votes. ANM Usaino Dabo UDP 6,619 votes. Esambai Fall Independent 64. Abdullah Ibrahim Jame NUP 179. Mama Kande GDC 200. And Halifa Babukar Sala PDIs 96. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Burama Fatou, agent for NPP, Fafanjai Sanyang, agent for NPP, Almamo Diba, agent for UDP, Dauda Kamara, agent for GDC, Amadou Esba, agent for GDC, and Keba Kamara, agent for PDIS. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazam, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Momolu ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esambai Fall, and Jabu Jow, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed by Ali Mamorinjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Ali Mamorinjai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021. Hereby announce the results from the Jara East constituency in the area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 4,778 votes, 4778. Ena Musero Dabo, UDP, 3,805 votes. 3805. Esambai Fall, Independent, 121 votes, 121. Abdullah Jame, NUP, 100 votes, 100. Amakande GDC, 599 votes, 599. Halifa Bukarasala, Bodoi, 121 votes. There were 5 invalid votes. Results were witnessed and endorsed by Burama Fatou, agent for NPP, Fafanjai Sanyang, agent for NPP, Almamo Diba, agent for UDP, Dauda Kamara, agent for GDC, Amadou Esba, agent for GDC, and Keba Kamara, agent for Doi. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the zone bound by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Sayang, agent for GDC, Mamadou Abis Balbou, agent for GDC, Tonadima Sabari, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for my SFR, Jabu Jo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mali Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed Alamani.
Now the results for Jara East constituency, Adama Barrow NPP 4,778 votes, ANM Usaino Dabo UDP 3,805 votes, Esambai Fall Independent 121 votes, Abdullah Ibrahim Jame NUP 100 votes, Mama Kande GDC 599 votes, and Halifa Babukar Sala PDIS 121 votes. There were 5 invalid votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Burama Fatou, agent for NPP, Fafa Njai Sanyang, agent for NPP, Almamo Diba, agent for UDP, Dauda Kamara, agent for GDC, Amadou Esba, agent for GDC, and Keba Kamara, agent for PDIS. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mohamed ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esambay Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed, Ali Momoranjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Ali Momoranjai, returning officer of the general election of 4 December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Nyamine Kunku constituency, the Nyambuda area as follows. Anambra NPP 2,410 votes, 2410. Ilam Usenu Dabo UDP 543 votes, 543. Esambay Fall Independent 54 votes, 54. Abdullah Ibrahim Jame NUP 48 votes, 48. Mama Kandi GDC 296 votes, 296. And Halifa Bokar Sala Doi 67 votes, 67. Resolved by witness and endorsed by Honorable Samba Jalo Ayer for NPP, Yero Jalo Ayer for GDC, Adama Sise Ayer for Doi, and Honorable Lamin Sise Ayer for UDP. Resolved by witness and confirmed all the elections out by Jidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Ilawa Nyang, agent for GDC, Muru Evis Mbu, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esamepal, Jabu Joh, agent for Doi, Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for Doi, signed Ayomanda.
Now the results from Nyamina Dankunku constituency, Adam Abaro NPP 2,410, ANM Usenu Daba UDP 543, Esambay Fall Independent 54, Abdullah Ibrahim Jame NUP 48, Mama Kande GDC 296, and Halifa Babukar Sala PDIS 67. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Honorable Samba Jalo, agent for NPP, Yera Jalo, agent for GDC, Adam Asise, agent for PDIS, and Honorable Lamin Sise, agent for UDP. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mamul ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabel, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esambay Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed, Ali Momoranjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Ali Momoranjai, returning officer of the general election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Nyamina East constituency. In young boy as follows. Adamabaro NPP 7,739, 7739. Iram Hussein Dabo UDP 2,168, 2168. Esambay Fall Independent 193 votes, 193. Abdullah Ibrahim Jame, NUP, 179 votes, 179. Mama Kadi GDC, 1,320 votes, 1320. And Halifa Bukar Sala, Doi, 384 votes, 384. There were 3 invalid votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Honorable Samba Jalo, agent for NPP, Honorable Haruna Bari, agent for GDC, Adama Sise, agent for Doi, and Honorable Lamin Sise, agent for UDP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Nyang, agent for GDC, Mamadou ABS Mbo, agent for the GDC, Dr. Demba Sawalit, agent for NPP, and Haji F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Sambaifal, Jabujo, agent for Doi, Alaji Malikuran, agent for Doi. Sign Alimania.
Now, Nyamira East constituency, Adam Barrow, NPP, 7,739 votes. ANM Hussein Odawa, UDP, 2,168. Esambai Fall, Independent, 193. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajami, NUP, 179. Mama Kande GDC, 1,320. Khalifa Babukar Sala, PDIs, 384. There were 3 invalid votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Honorable Samba Diallo, agent NPP, Honorable Haruna Bari, agent GDC, Adam Asise, agent PDIs, and Honorable Lavin Sise, agent for UDP. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mamoudi ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIs, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIs. Signed, Aliu Mamad Njai, Chairman, IEC.
I, Aliman Njai, returning officer for the election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Nyamina West constituency in the Yanagura Administrative area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 2,986 votes, 2,986. Adam Hussein Odawa, UDP, 890, 890. Esambai Fall, Independent, 65, 65. Abdullah Jami, NP, 78 votes, 78. Mama Kande GDC, 541, 541. Hayabakar Sala, Doi, 87, 87. This was by witness and endorsed by Honorable Samba Diallo, Yerban, Honorable Hana Bari, Yerbu GDC, Adam Sise, Yerbu Doi, and Honorable Lamin Sise, Yerbu UDP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Nyang, agent for GDC, Modu S. Mbo, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabari, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahom, agent for Zambai, Jabu Joe, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mali Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed, Alamali.
Now for Nyamira West constituency, Adam Barrow, NPP, 2,986 votes. ANM Hussein Odawa, UDP, 890. Esambai Fall, Independent, 65. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajami, NUP, 78. Mama Kande GDC, 541. And Khalifa Babukar Sala, PDIs, 87. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Honorable Samba Diallo, agent NPP, Honorable Haruna Bari, agent for GDC, Adam Asise, agent for PDIs, Honorable Lamin Sise, agent for UDP, and they were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mohamed ABS Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahom, agent for Esambai Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIs, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIs. Signed by Alaji Aliu Mawarinjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Aliu Mawarinjai, returning officer of the election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Central Badibu constituency in the Karawan and Video area as follows. Adama Barrow, LPP, 3,927, 3927. AM Zero Dawo, UDP, 3,994, 3994. SMY Val, Independent, 7676. Abdullah Ibrahim Jami, NUP, 112, 112. Mama Kande GDC, 606, 606. Halifa Bakar Sala Doi, 85, 85. The Silver Witness and endorsed by Lamin Isai Jami, agent for NPP, Dr. Njoguba, agent for NPP, Yaya Fofana, agent for Doi, Yusuf Job, agent for NUP. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Gassama, agent for NUP, Dr. Demba Sawari, agent for NPP, Alkaliab Conte, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Esambal, Jabu Jo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mamadi Kuram, agent for Doi. Signed and Amanjai.
Now, Central Badibu constituency, Adama Barrow, NPP, 3,927. ANM Usaino Dabo, UDP, 3,994. Esam Fal, Independent, 676. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajam, NUP, 112. Mama Kande GDC, 606. And Halifa Babukar Sala, PDIS, 85. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Lamin S.I. Jami, agent for NPP, Dr. Njogu Elba, agent for NPP, Yaya Fofana, agent for PDIS, and Yusufa Job, agent for NUP. Witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Esa Mbaifal, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed, Alibu Mwanjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Eliman Jai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the lower Badibu constituency in the Karawan area as follows. Adama Barrow, NPP, 3,828, 3828. Iram Hussein Dabo, UDP, 3,638, 3638. SMI Independent, 8383. Abdullah Ibrahim Jami, NUP, 8181. Mama Kande GDC, 433, 433, 433. Halifa Bakar Sala Doi, 99, 99. There were 2 invalid votes. The survey witnessed and enforced by Lamin S.I. Jami, agent for NPP, Dr. Njogu Aiba, agent for NPP, Yaya Fofana, agent for Doi, and Abdullah Siskan, agent for UDC. The results were witnessed and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Gassama, agent for NUP, Ivan Sayang, agent for GDC, Mur Iwes Mbu, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabari, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Baum, agent for Esambal, Jabu Jo, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed, Amanjai.
Now the results for Lower Badibu constituency, Adama Barrow NPP, 3,828 votes, ANM Usaino Dabo, UDP, 3,638 votes, Esambai Fall Independent 83, Abdullah Ibrahim Ajami NUP 81, Mama Kande GDC 433, and Halifa Babukar Sala PDIS 99. There were 2 invalid votes. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Lamin S.I. Jami, agent for NPP, Dr. Njogu Elba, agent for NPP, Yahya Fofana, agent for PDIS, and Abdullah Azizka, agent for GDC. They were witnessed and confirmed by Sidi Gazama, agent for NUP, Ibrahim Anyang, agent for GDC, Mohamed A.B.S. Mbuk, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahom, agent for Esambai Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed, Aliu Morinjai, Chairman IEC.
I, Aliu Morinjai, returning officer of the presidential election of 4th December 2021, hereby announce the results from the Jokado constituency in the Kalawan area as follows. Arabaro, NPP 5,980, 5980. Yerang Hussein Dabo, UDP 1,702, 1702. Esambai Fall Independent 217, 217. Abdullah Ibrahim Ajami, NUP 165, 165. Mama Kali GDC 1,716, 1716. Halifa Bakar Salah Doi 621, 621. There was 1 invalid vote. Resolved by endorsed by Lamin S.I. Jami, agent for NPP, Dr. Nyogo Elba, agent for NPP, Yahya Pavana, agent for Doi, and Abdul Aziz Ka, agent for GDC. Resolved by witness and confirmed at the election house by Sidi Kasama, agent for NUP, Iramanyang, agent for GDC, Moro Ibris Move, agent for GDC, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, and Kali F. Conte, agent for NPP, James Bahum, agent for Esambai Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for Doi, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for Doi. Signed, Aliu Morinjai.
We go to Jokado constituency, Adam Baro NPP, 5,980 votes, ESA ANM Useno WDP, 1,702 votes, Esambai Fall Independent, 217, Abdullah Ibrahim Ajami NUP, 165, Mama Kale BDC, 1,716, Alifa Babukar Sala PDIS, 621. There was one involved. Such were witness and Adam Asagari, agent for NPP, Yahya Kokana, agent for PDIS, Abdullah Azizka, agent for BBC. Witness and confirmed, agent for NPP, agent for BBC. Dr. Demba Sabal, agent for NPP, Alkali F. Conde, agent for NPP, James Bahul, agent for Esambai Fall, Jabu Joe, agent for PDIS, and Alaji Mamadi Kurang, agent for PDIS. Signed, Aliu Morinjai, Chairman IDC.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know it has been a long night, tiring night. So far, that's what we have for now. So we're doing it in batches. So we expect the next batch to be ready by 11 a.m. Good luck. Thank you.
We now hand you back to our studios at the Kerr.
welcome back to here. It's what? It's the morning already? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're almost 24 hours here. But we have a set of results that just came in. We have Banjul South. We have Banjul North. All of Banjul is in. Banjul Central. Bundung is in. And Kiang West and Kiang East. We also have Jara East and Nyamina Dankunku. We have Nyamina West and Nyamina East. We have Badibu, Central Badibu and Lower Badibu. It seems like most of the Nyamina, all the Nyaminas are in, all of Banjul is in, and the 2 Badibus are also in. It seems like it's looking like a sweep for the NPP. So far, what we are saying, Esa Njai.
Well, let's start with anyway, I think I was dozing off, so I think
you were sleeping.
Yeah, he was sleeping at some point.
Yeah,
it had been a tiring night.
Yeah.
Interesting results.
Yeah. Banjul was expected, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was. Banjul was expected, but because this was something we talked about last night, where you'd expect maybe UDP has the mayor in Banjul, she could do better for her party, but then records have shown she even struggled to be the mayor of Banjul. So hopes are not very high. But again, this is the incumbent and residing in Banjul, so he has all the connection with Banjul. So I don't think the results. As I said something yesterday that as a fall, somebody told him that he is disconnected to Banjul, and I think it has reflected. Initially, yes, people who don't know the background, because SI is from Banjul, so people will be like, yes, Banjul will be a no-go area for all other political parties. A son of Banjul is contesting for presidency, but we've seen the total difference. Yeah.
The drainage system, they'll say, I'm not doing head and you know, but people will say that is not the proper, what we are paying for is not even what is reflected on those roads. But the people of Banjul came out and they're telling me, they've been very clear. We are with President Barrow. You remember we have how many ministers in Banjul? I think one of the rallies the president said, "Wa Banjul, nyata minister la len jox." I think he was counting the number of ministers from Banjul, even though Banjul is just 20-something thousand votes, but they have a lot of ministers, they have development coming to them, and they believe they should just vote alongside with the president. But it's a UDP mayor there. And my thing is, even when there was this attestation issues in Banjul, people thought Ronnie Malik Law was doing some illegal registration there. But now it seems like, well, where are those 3,000 votes if it's in Banjul? But again, Banjul have voted naturally with the presidency, and they have done that again today.
Yeah, not surprising that NPP swept Banjul, but the expectations were that the margins were going to be a little bit narrower.
Yeah.
And there was also this expectation that Esafal bin Banjulian
Yeah.
was also going to have a good claim of the Banjul votes.
Yeah.
But it looks like, for example, Banjul Central, Barrow 4,700.
Yeah.
And UDP only 1,453. So with a Banjul mayor, and Rohim Malik Law had done reasonably well.
Yeah.
So you will think with incumbency that even though we expected, but the margins were going to be narrower. Banjul South as well, UDP only 857 to Barrow's 3,641.
Yeah.
So I think I think this boils down to the Banjulian connection, the three ministers, and some of the over benefits that they believe they can continue to gain from a borough administration.
Yeah.
I think it's the only plausible way that we can explain the massive gap. But again, yeah, Banjulians have rejected the UDP, have rejected Asambay Fall as well. But that perhaps can be the long absence as well. But other people were saying that wa Banjula, you know, and traditionally Banjulians always rallied behind each other. But perhaps here the competing interests were, do you rally behind a fellow Banjulian who perhaps because of the for more than 20 something years has been out of this country, or do they rally behind Banjulians to whom they are deriving direct benefit in real time? So that perhaps could explain. But we'll move on to the other one. But the numbers in overall, it looks like the predictions were a lot closer for Banjul than they've come out. So it looks like it's a clean sweep. Not only a clean sweep, but a massive one for that matter in Banjul.
And then Alima, in KM, NPP is still keeping their dominance. Look at Bundung. Bundung NPP polled 10,542, and UDP followed with 7,001 something. Bakarin Jai, the UDP NAM in Bundung. Well, in Bundung, if you put together the numbers from the opposition, it surpasses what we have seen in other regions. You add NPP, you add all the oppositions together, NPP still has a strong lead. But in Bundung, you still, if you add the opposition, it's more than NPP. But still, there's a 2,000 plus gap between the NPP and the UDP. That's still a lot for Bundung, considering they have a National Assembly member who is UDP.
Yeah, again, one of the surprises we're seeing there, and I think it takes us back to saying that what are the trends we're seeing in this election? That question of what are the trends, and then how much being an MP, having an MP doing well there, that is the UDP having an MP doing well there, not reflecting. Again, do we take that down to the gaps between 2016 and 2021 now, these MPP votes, and whether we take it down to power of incumbency, again, is still a lingering question. And as we go, Fatou, it's like, as the rumor, like the unconfirmed results that we were seeing, basing our analysis on since the beginning, are coming in so
and it's been consistent.
Yes, consistent with the IEC. And again, I think that takes us back to what we've been analyzing here since yesterday, that the trends that we are seeing, some of the like we didn't see some of these things coming, and still I go back to my main thing is that we're still not understanding our democracy from the polls that we're seeing. So the NPP keeping us surprising gaps, margins, and then if this is the trend that we continue to see, because now we're seeing from the KM, from the Buddy Bulls, from the
Kiangs,
and still the margin is getting big, and I think I see one UDP surpassing them.
But even with that, it's just
that is very insignificant,
very
very close, very close there. So it's still the issues we've been talking about, whether ethnic, whether other issues that we've been talking about, still the trends being all over the place. So this MPP's performance, very, very surprising. These margins are very surprising. And again, not reflecting the issue of the vote dragging, that taking some of the votes from whether it's because when we talk about between MPP and UDP,
yeah.
yes, it's getting shocking. But then when you look at the gaps between Mama Kande
Yeah.
and MPP, we see no correlation
No.
with regards to what we were at least, not just us, many people were basing the expectations of this. And then it brings back to what I've been telling Abdullah off cam as well, that you would have thought with the trends we've seen during the campaign, during the political discourse we've been having, and due to the nature of this election itself, like how crucial it is to a democracy, that we would be seeing sort of like a roller coaster. That's what we were expecting, like a tight race, UDP up, then NPP up, like, but then we've just seen this, and the margins getting bigger from the beginning. UDP not taking dominance in any of these coming up, just the one insignificant one that we're talking about, and it's shocking. It's shocking.
And Kiang and the Jaras, LRR, we have Kiang East, Kiang West, and Jara East. And surprisingly, NPP is winning in Jara. NPP is winning in, in Kiang East, UDP is leading, but it's just about 200 and something. Why? Like, that is only in Kiang West that UDP has a significant lead, about 4,000. LRR, are you surprised?
Well, I think it's like even a lot of political analysts out there who predicted Gambia's December 2021 election will be surprised. The results that are coming out. I don't want to comment on the final results to say, okay, it's normal, a tight one. Let's see how it goes. But then from the look of things, it seems like because these are UDP-dominated areas. These are areas that you're expecting UDP to dominate, like with 4,000, 5,000 margins. And now we are seeing very small margins, except for Kiang West, where they have 4,000 plus margin. So a lot of people will be surprised with this. It's no more a tight race. It's what we are seeing. It's like whether I should call it landslide or closer to that.
The trend.
Yeah, the trend is on. So for some of these areas, it's a surprise. Like Kiang West, people are expecting like maybe NPP wouldn't score more than 1,000. Do you understand? Because even yesterday 2 days ago, I was talking to someone who was telling me that, well, Kiang, they are calculating he shouldn't have more than 1,000 votes. That's what the expectation was. And now we are seeing that he scored like 2,000 plus. Kiang East, I think that's also another surprise place, because these are the KFN, the JNR and all that. So it's not expected for UDP to be 2,048, 485, and NPP 2,073. You're talking about, just 400 something difference. 400 something different, which is just very insignificant. We have seen GDC performing a bit, 61 votes, which is not. Well, GDC could have also done better there if NPP, even though the advantage of incumbency is they are coming new, but Kiang East as well, looking at a bit of multi-ethnic setting, and we expect GDC to do better there. But then unfortunately for them, they've done this. So for Jara East, it's not also outright UDP. I think LRR, if there is to be any problem in Jara East, it has to do with LRR. It has to do with Jara Central, a bit of Jara East, just a bit of Jara East. But in Jara Central is mostly their problem. So having UDP with 3,805, NPP with 4,778. I wasn't expecting NPP to emerge victorious in Jara East. What I was expecting was UDP to take over, but then it will not be a significant margin. That was my expectation. And then for Banjul, as they all said, so my friend who told me this got it right. That ESA wouldn't pull significant votes in Banjul, because he is kind of disconnected from Banjul. That's what Banjulians know. But like you said, the infrastructure, the roads that are built there, and also normally they take it to be like the president is living in our place.
But the most influential ministers,
you
finance,
look at the Omar Fai,
Ministry, Defense,
all those people are from Banjul. So these are tactics that politicians use. Even though Banjul does not have significant amount of votes, but then
it's the seat of power.
Exactly, they try to especially incumbent winning in the capital. Because if you lose in the capital, it doesn't tell well. So Barrow is trying to do that, and then. So Banjul is not a big surprise to me. What for the UDP? I know UDP, Banjul is not their stronghold, and it gets back to the registered voters, the attestations issued by Rahim Aliklo. I said this when the issue was on. Some people were like, "It's not fair. It's an advantage to the UDP." I said, "Look, this is not advantageous to the UDP." Okay, because Banjul is not a stronghold for the UDP. And now imagine if those people that are issued attestation, 2,000 of them, for instance, were to be deregistered from the voter register, meaning NPP would not have had 4,000 in some of the constituencies in Banjul. Do you understand? So probably that most likely NPPs would not have had the votes that they secured in Banjul. So it's not a surprise that UDP have this there. I think they themselves knew that, look, Banjul is not the area that we can fight. I think they were even thinking of ESA being the spoiler effect there, so that he will challenge Barrow there, reduce his votes. But things are not going that way. So the reason why one can conclude that, look, NPP will win this election is like the spoiler effect that UDP was expecting
didn't come.
It's not there, because the reason why they expected a spoiler effect is that having APRC not fully endorse the alliance with Barrow, they thought like, okay, that's going to work for us now, because the expectation was that if APRC had fully endorsed NPP alliance, then that's game over. But now they have not endorsed. It was like, okay, now they will do spoiler effect for us. But now that is not happening. So, I mean, Nyamina Dankunku.
The Nyaminas, all the three Nyaminas.
It's not a surprise anyway.
It's not?
We've seen, it's not a surprise. Nyamina West, we saw, NPP, what they did there in the by-election.
Oh my God.
So they have their MP there. Nyamina Dankunku is of course the same. Remember, Samba Diallo is from there, the NRP MP, the minority leader, is from Nyamina Dankunku. Nyamina is 2, has been GDC. You have a GDC candidate there, but MP there. But remember, he himself, did not win with significant margin. It was not a landslide during the parliamentary election.
Even UDP is leading GDC. And they have a GDC NAM.
Exactly, that's what I'm telling you. So there's a problem there. So Bundung, well, I've said that since yesterday that KM is going to be tied. And places like Bundung, could have fall under UDP. I think UDP could have capitalized on those areas where they have their MPs. Do you understand? Talinding is not a UDP MP, but Bundung has a UDP MP. Latrikunda Sabiji is NPP anyway, not NPP, but independent. UDP flopped, NPP MP there. So we expected that Bundung should have been an area that they should have performed well. So, but it seems like KM, we are surprised. That Serakunda, we were so surprised what happened there, and we've seen Bundung too. What happened there is just a surprise, and let's expect that Latrikunda Sabiji too will be another surprise. We are hearing that, UDP won in Talinding. We are not sure how accurate that is, but then if they cannot win significant number in Talinding and Latrikunda Sabiji, I think it's game over for them in KM, because the only places left will be Josuang. I think NPP will do better in those areas. Bakau, we're hearing unconfirmed reports that they won, but not a significant margin. That's also another surprise, because when you say Bakau, before the election, everybody will tell you, oh, Bakau, forget. That one is, as they will say, in quote, a no-go area for the incumbent. And now
there is one thing I observe about NPP. Even if they are going to lose to UDP, but they fight very hard, at least to minimize the margin. As opposed to when UDP is losing to NPP.
The only place I'm interested to know now is the combos. What would be the margin in those places?
The unconfirmed
Whether
are giving us the same trend in combo.
the
as
same
well.
trend in combo.
You
Yes.
see, anybody that wins
Yeah.
an election, there is normally a trend.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
2016, there was a trend.
Yeah.
And the trend appeared very early.
Mm-hmm.
Very early, you can tell. So the trend here as well,
Yeah.
like when the results started, the unconfirmed results started trickling down. It's showing the same thing as well. So I know this is very simplistic, but UDP is massively underperforming
Yeah.
in areas that ordinarily they were expected to hit a home run. NPP is massively overperforming, even in areas that they were not expected to. So whether that is a winning formula or not, or what the secrets are, but those are the trends. The Kiangs and everywhere else. So even in Nyamina, if you look at, it's a massive gap. So it's not only that maybe we expected that NPP were going to win, but 7,700 and only 2,100. So it's a massive. So I would not be surprised that the same trend will
Continue.
manifest in the
I
combos.
mean-
You know, in the combos, people were expecting, especially in the West Coast, that
Yeah.
that big traditional, because of the Brickhammers and the Yundums and the Lamens and the
Yeah.
Gunjuls and the Sukuras and the Profoots and stuff like that. And but it looks like Barrow has managed to buck the trend.
Yeah.
Well, so far as we had expected.
What would you say to this? Probably if parties like CA and others were not rejected, were on the ballot, do you think that would have changed the dynamics?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The margins are too wide. Yeah.
You think CA would have been in the same
I've
position
actually been
with
saying something. I said to somebody last night that this is a blessing in disguise for CA,
Yeah.
because I think like the audio, they would have been completely consumed
Yeah.
as well. And the way CA has organized themselves over the last 3 years, and with the expectations as well, this is very demoralizing. So in a way now they haven't really tested the water, so they can turn around and say, at least it gives you a bit of a psychological
preparedness.
Absolutely.
Because looking at this trend here, I
Yeah.
think CA's numbers would not have been any better than SRFAL
Well,
and the rest.
yeah.
I don't think you will have had a significant difference.
Yeah.
So what that would have done as well, that would have completely demoralized the CA, the snippets of CA support in some of the other areas as well. So CA's legal woes may actually have worked out to be a blessing in disguise. So they have seen this now. They will probably learn from these lessons and prepare for 2026.
I also wanted to say something. Don't we think also Kande's decision to form an alliance with APRC must have led to protest votes within the GDC camp? We saw protest votes in Nyamina West by election.
Yeah.
When, sort of not formal alliance, but then UDP officially, declared their support for the GDC. And I was there, people that we talked to, our long-term observers, the people that they engaged, some GDC supporters said, look, they are forming an alliance with UDP. We're not going to them. So I don't know, is it that, maybe it's because of the UDP, but I'm also thinking probably GDC has this alliance phobia, because 2016 they did not go into any alliance or coalition.
They did very
and
well.
they did very well. And by-elections in Nyamina, they went into alliance with UDP and they lost the seat there. Now into alliance with APRC, they are underperforming. Don't you think GDC supporters want GDC go solo in elections? Probably they are not in for alliance, and then they do protest votes. So the performance is not good at their end.
Well, I don't think that is the issue. I don't think that is, because if you look at the traditional GDC supporters,
Yeah.
they're not massively different in terms of, these are people. So some of the people that you'll find
The
in
APRC.
some of these places in Nyomi and some of the satellite villages around Badibu in 2016 voted for. These are people that previously voted for for Yaya Jammeh. 95% or probably more, probably almost 100% of the GDC support in 2016 were support that he derived from APRC. So I don't think they are strange bedfellows. I think what happened is, I think this is probably the reason why GDC was happy, because they would have known that because of the baggage, when Barrow formed this, had this MOU with the APRC, and how people reacted to it, they still decided to. Maybe that was to basically unknown to us. That was basically to mask, because they knew themselves that the strength. But over the last few years, they've actually been weakening. One of the NPP representatives here, at election house as we speak, Dr. Sabali, was one of the most influential executive members
of GDC. Yeah.
Actually, one of their financiers. So these are people who didn't actually, talk the talk, but walk the walk. So you didn't only have people like Dr. Sabali, but a host of other influential people, both here and in the diaspora, for whatever reason, who kind of gave money.
Yeah.
Had now jumped to join the NPP.
And the Nyamina is MP, the GDC MP there.
I was talking to
He could lose his seat.
And he was
he's
like,
one
there
of
is
the
this
youngest
strong
and finest
business
MPs.
tycoon in this country who was with GDC then, but now have shifted camp to the NPP camp. So these are all issues. But again, if you look at 2016, Abdullah was always talking about the game changer. In 2016, we had Mama Kande.
Yeah.
He almost took everything from APRC.
Yeah.
That made the incumbency difficult for Yaya Jammeh. But Barrow is more of enjoying the incumbency this time round. Because people we expected that will be picking points from him are not performing. The SRFALs, the GDC themselves, the newcomers. We expect at least that they will put pressure, because the big rival, the big rival was UDP. You understand? So we expected that all these other four will pick from NPP. That will give a great opportunity to UDP. But that is not happening.
Exactly, because the expectation was not that UDP was going to have an increase in support base. No, because Barrow also took from UDP.
Exactly.
So the expectation was UDP wouldn't go beyond this. But it's the Candace, the Fals, the Doyes who will come and take from Barrow, snatch from him, so that UDP, even if Barrow is to defeat UDP, it will not be that much. So that is what is not happening. So it's quite unprecedented. So like I was saying, Nyamina East, the MP there, I remember Nyamina West by election. They were threatening him that we will make sure that you lose your seat in Nyamina East. And the signs are not encouraging. And if Barrow wins this election, it's like,
definitely,
it's the power of incumbency. I think he will be in trouble in Nyamina East.
But the Badibus as well. Have you seen the Badibus?
Fatou, so what overall, I think this election, if it goes this way, the trend as it continues, this will be, well, it might not sound good for the NPP because they wouldn't like that, but then it is bad for our democracy, in the sense that we're going to have self-perpetuating rule. One, the constitutional framework, the legal framework wouldn't be there. We may not have a new constitution without no term limit. The bad laws might be there because the incumbent wants to stay in power. And then we will tend to have the incumbent also to dominate the parliament. Do you understand? Most of these areas might fall, you see, under him. And then that will be a way of entrenching himself in power, which will affect our strive to consolidate democracy. So I think Gambia will have to take another round, to, should I say, restore democracy and move towards consolidation again, which I think, from the look of things, might take time.
It might take time.
Take another decade or more. Unless magic comes in 2026.
I don't know what kind of magic would that be.
But for example, what you were saying about the UDP expecting that they will do their part, but also relying on somebody to also. But in Bundung, Doi only 1,300. So within the Serakunda region, so you expected DOI to have really pushed a little bit higher, just to try and reduce
NPP chances.
So in Banjul as well, one of the, I can't remember which one, but one of the other constituencies as well has a DOI MP.
Yeah.
It didn't really make any difference because
Banjul North.
here,
Banjul
North, only 447.
Yeah.
Compared to NPP's 3,400. So, I think Barrow, how he has
managed to
outperform all of these.
I'm
just imagining.
All of them. That is what is.
What kind of politics was used in these places?
That is what. But.
For such a dormant presidency that we've seen, right, and the Nobel Party, like it being a new party, how well the MPP all these
Still baffles me, right? But I know there were certain things that also, I said that maybe that was not going to be effective. I remember saying this to Oli on many of our platforms. The cash transfers and the food aid that they were, and NPP targeted this very well. The presidency, they, during the COVID, they were giving households 3,000 for 3 months, and they were saying Barona Takakudo Diala, even though it was a World Bank sponsored thing, and the UDP and the entire opposition didn't do a good job to explain to the people where that money came from. That was 3 months right into the COVID. Few months before election, they gave another batch of 3 months, and rice and oil and all the stuff. You thinking people are saying, ambulances. So people want services and things closer to them. If government is giving you 3,000, itala da panso mang hani dal kemelulo si karo, ne wuli saboje iba fla nyima sakunda ka keme wuli saboje. So those, salary. So all of these things,
Someone told me he's from Kerr. His uncle said, look, all of you have to vote for Barrow. In my whole life, I never received salary. That was at $3,000.
Yeah.
So,
I think
these things worked for him.
Yeah.
That issue of the UDP or the opposition
Yeah.
trying to enlighten the people that these are not necessarily Barrow, like the government doing it. So that also the other responsibility of these political parties. What we see here is when campaigns come,
Yeah.
they continue to have opportunities to address. We've seen Fatou do that. When he says that it's 1,500, he says no, actually it is 100. So when he says sort of comes to rectify some of the misinformation that the incumbency gives out there.
Yeah.
I think if UDP was doing that kind of thing, that is not attack. That is sort of, and it is actually a responsibility to sort of counteract some of this misinformation. And I think the MPP did a good, well, I wouldn't say good job, but the way I said earlier, the way they hijacked some of these projects that were not necessarily government.
Even the
but that's how
classrooms,
they
the
sold
3,000 classrooms that you talked about.
Yeah.
So the political parties moving forward, if the trend we're seeing moving forward is that we taking it up upon themselves as well. I think it's important that to continue enlightening the population, like the electorate, not only seeing, I think terms matter here, not only seeing the Gambian people as just the electorate, but the Gambian people, they continuing to enlighten them as well, a continuous process, taking it upon themselves. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a good?
Yeah.
Can I come in? Only last month, I think it was sometime end of October, sometime end of October or in November, there was a UNDP project, milling machines. across the country. Nothing to do with government. Completely funded by and this was supposed to have been, but when it came to the distribution of that, very recently during this, I think it happened actually during the campaign or just before, but during the
some communities got theirs.
So that is what they did. So what the government actually insisted is that this were going to be distributed directly by the agency funding the project, and I think to do with the local authorities. But remember, the local authorities in predominantly these areas are controlled by the UDP and the opposition. So they insisted that they must be distributed by the governors. So instead of going to whatever, you go to the governor's office, and the governors have been appointed by Barrow. So they hijacked it. So when you go for example, these rural areas, I know, all the different regions, and you bring 7-8 milling machines and the rest of it, and the governor is there and the rest of it. So regardless of what Esamba Fall does, regardless what UDP does, to say this is from the World Bank or this is from the FAO or UND, they couldn't care less. All that they care about is that they've got their milling machines under the regime of Barrow or whoever. So as far as they are concerned, the recipients only care about that product that will change their lives. So regardless of what noise, I do not think, unless our level of sophistication and understanding changes fundamentally. SFL has been talking about corruption. He repeatedly talks about the budget allocated to the office of the president. He's saying last year was 627 million. This year he's saying that it's increased by 50 million, 677 million. It doesn't look like that has made any difference in terms of the numbers.
I get what you're saying. For me, it's the significance I'm trying to find is that it being a continuous process. That's why I was saying that, trying to see Gambians not just as the electorate, just the votes. The SFL, what he did was important or not, but if it is a continuous process, I'm just saying that would that also have an impact about enlightening Gambian people that sometimes that it's not just during campaigns where SFL saying it in campaigns on campaign trails might seem to others as just a sabotage to Barrow, as opposed to if it is political parties, as opposed to what we see here, just being active during just elections, right? It's a continuous process where they're engaged with the people in things like this. I don't know if you...
I would think maybe, I don't know whether we need kind of reforms in the role of the National Council for Civic Education. Or even civil society. I mean, because this is about consolidating our democracy. I think some of these things are very bad for our democracy. When we have incumbents relying or using some of these things as opportunities to, campaign to say we're doing this. The classrooms that Barrow talked about, 3,000 classrooms. This MRT Holland project, and he relied on that to say that I built over 3,000 classrooms here. The $3,000 that we talk about to the rural communities, households. So what the National Council for Civic Education, maybe their role or activities could be expanded to even enlighten people about some of these things. Do you understand? When government projects are there, yes, they are government projects, but when these are non-government projects, people should be out there to they should let people know that these are non-government projects and they should not be used by politicians as for propaganda. But we are also having fact-check centers here now in the Gambia. I think they should also take this as a responsibility. When politicians are out there to make people believe that these are projects, let them counter it to tell people that this is not true. But then how many people will also have access to that fact check to say this is false news, the government is just using it as a propaganda? I think that's one thing. So the enlightenment, like Abdullah has been saying, the level of that's why I said Gambia, we just starting from somewhere again. It's like we're going back zero. Before the Gambian mind, the mind of an average Gambian is sophisticated to that level to be able to think and analyze. We have another decade or 2 decades or 3 decades or 4 or 5 decades to go. Do you understand? So it's really pathetic. It's really bad for our democracy at this stage in 2021. This is how Gambians think about this whole stuff. I mean, not necessarily trying to scrutinize politicians. And I think one thing also that I wanted to talk about has to do with we're talking about the NPP tactic.
Yeah.
What did they do? You know, people were also underrating or underestimating Barrow's personal attack on Dabo. You see, Gambian electorates are not interested in issues. He said it as I was talking about corruption. And I said it here that one of my biggest problems with this government has to do with corruption. Okay? Barrow, in fact, surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but then, you know, the international community, I'm not sure which organization, but the international community, one of these international bodies, in fact, went to the extent, I think it's the US State Department or so, said that Barrow has not taken any step
in combating,
since 2017 to combat corruption.
Yeah.
ESA was talking about corruption. Okay? Barrow went out to tell people that ESA's salary is $500,000 is when it was not up to that.
Yeah.
Okay? He was just engaged in personal attack, character assassinating Dabo. Dabo did this, he betrayed me, Dabo is the CEO of this, that and that. And people thought that this was working against him. But then the people that are following him are now seeing Dabo as the bad person.
Yeah.
Because Dabo was not also coming to kind of, you know, how do you call it, discredit or debunk those statements. Dabo was also coming to, even though attack Barrow, but then he was not doing it as what Barrow was doing it. Because here is Barrow who was desperate, absolutely desperate for victory, and he was looking for any opportunity, any single opportunity that he could damage his opponent. That was exactly what he was doing. On top of that, Dembo by force came in Bakau and just destroyed everything. Even though some of us thought that was going to work against him, that was going to backfire, but unfortunately, it did not. So even looking at the issue of protest votes, the people that we thought, just yesterday my brother was telling me that, look, don't be surprised, some of these people that will tell you, the voters that we are saying, we know Barrow is not the option. No, Barrow cannot do it. But we prefer him to UDP. So some of them, I said no. I think some of them, because I was talking to someone who said she was going to vote for Khalifa, and she was insisting, even encouraging her mother to vote for Khalifa. I was like, no, I think these people will still maintain, because they also had been trying to make people believe that we have a silent majority, and this silent majority will vote for us. Yesterday, there was a Doi supporter here who was so confident. I even asked her, where did you get your confidence from? She said they are going to win. I was like, Doi will win this election? She said yes, confidently. So they were also trying to make their people believe that, look, if you Fatou is saying that you will vote for Doi, Esa is saying I'll vote for Doi, he's saying, you know, she's saying, and then, so if you all are saying that you want to vote for Doi, but you are saying that no, I want to vote for Doi, but Doi will not win. If you all vote for Doi, Doi will win.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So they're trying to make their people believe that it's possible. We have a silent majority. Forget about this crowd that is out there. There are less than 200,000 people or 300,000 people. So we have a silent majority that are sitting, and you are part of those people. So vote for us, we will win. If you vote for us, we will win. We have seen that campaign even on What's on Gambia. They've been doing the campaign for Doi for the past week.
Yeah.
So those people were also having that. So I thought, look, they will still vote for Doi. But my brother was telling me, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. These people will vote for Barrow. They would rather vote for Barrow than to vote for Dai, because they are like, Khalifa will not win.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what is coming out.
Right
These people decided that they are going to vote for Barrow than to have a UDP government, just to prevent a UDP government. Yeah.
Finally, before we go though, what we have also seen recently, apart from the forced results that came, UDP agents at the IEC are not signing any of the returns that the chairman is
really?
reading. Yes. I observed and I let him observe. So apart from the first four results, all other results that were coming, it was signed by all agents here, but except UDP. I know the first four they did sign, but the remaining.
Yeah, we're hearing that there are issues, in the UDP camp.
Yeah.
We also had GDC at some point had issues. We are not sure whether that is sufficient because they are signing.
Yeah.
But UDP had issues with some of these things. There is an allegation. I think it's an audio circulating. I'm not sure how true it is. But they're saying that the votes in URR are even more than the registered number of voters. If that is the case, then there is a big problem. But let's see how that goes. What's the official results for URR, and then we'll see that. So if UDP has issues with this, probably because they might be shocked with the numbers. This is unimaginable.
Yeah.
And the way Barrow is winning, UDP of all parties having 1,000 votes in Serekunda, the entire Serekunda, Barrow having that 7,000 votes. thinking of even our strongholds. Now they're saying that Barrow is beating us there.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Some are saying in Busumbala, I don't know how authentic it is and unconfirmed. Some are saying Barrow's winning UDP 17,000 margin. That's just unimaginable. And they might be like, look, something is wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
With the preparation, with UDP support out there, when you look at their crowd and everything, even individually, when you engage people, they're all like, yes, we are ready to vote for UDP. And all of a sudden, things are turning this way. When people were saying that, in fact, some were suggesting that Barrow will not even have second. Do you understand? And now it's turning out this way. What magic must have happened?
Yeah.
So I think those are questions. Those are valid questions.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's important also. It's important to ask whether UDP is also doing their tabulation at their own level. Someone was telling me that, well, they said they were doing their tabulation, but all of a sudden they stopped. But someone was telling me that no, they're saying that they're doing their tabulation. This was since last night. That they're doing their tabulation and they are confident of victory. They know it's going to be tight, but they are confident of victory. But so far, what we have seen, because these are, even though Combo is expected to pull out the majority, but what we see is still unconfirmed reports. UDP is winning in Combo, but not significant as expected. And if that doesn't happen,
actually, what the results that we're getting, they're not.
They're not.
They're not. So
well, it's Brikama we're hearing.
I mean, but
they're winning in Brikama. Busumbala is not, but then
and even Combo South.
Gunju.
The results they are saying it looks like NPP is.
Well, let's see how it goes.
And that is what is confusing for a lot of us. But we'll take this break. We go get some. I don't know whether it's a nap or something, because chairman says 11 o'clock. So it's It's almost 9 o'clock. Another 2 hours to go. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get more results in and then analyze. It's going to be a long day because we still have the combos, and KM is not finished, and also the entire West Coast is not yet in. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll look at all of that. So we'll take a break now.